Oh yeah, did you guys see the Juan on YouTube says he thinks that they should do a push-up contest. Did you guys see the video of RFK Jr.? He's like a 60 or 70-year-old man, and this mug is ripped, bro. He is absolutely ripped for an old guy. He makes me look absolutely pathetic because I mean, I'm not a fat guy. I don't have like big floppy boobs or anything. Um, this is why I believe in fat shaming. But I don't look like this guy. I have never
Melt
looked
fat
like this
like
guy,
butter with
bro.
this new powerful military invention. This $69 special forces device turns
Maybe that's how he got it. Maybe that's how he got it. The special forces. All right, so take a look here at RFK Jr., folks. Take a look.
Shirtless RFK Jr. Chris Chulo wanted to see this again.
So this is the guy who wants to run against Biden.
While jabbing at President Biden about getting in shape.
So Biden is completely incompetent, mentally deranged, senile, and this is the guy who wants to run against him. This is the guy right here who wants to run against him. All right, let's back it up. Look at this guy, bro. Look at this guy. The guy is ripped. Absolutely ripped. So he's going to be running circles around Joe Biden for sure. Absolutely running circles around Joe Biden. But what's funny is the Democrats won't even let the guy run for office, basically. They're like, sure, you can go around and try to raise some money, do some speeches or whatever. But if you think that you're going to debate or get a fair shot at this, no, that ain't happening. That ain't happening. But that was the initial story when he first started running. They thought he was a complete joke. I think his numbers are up to like 15 or 20 or something like that. So he's actually doing fairly well. And it also looks like the Democrats now are turning against Joe Biden and they don't want him to run. It seems Newsom is stepping into the spotlight again, starting to do some talk shows, and he went on Hannity and stuff. So he's starting to put himself out there. He's just putting himself out there right now as a Biden supporter. I'm just out there supporting the guy. You know, the big guy. We're supporting the big guy. But he's just putting himself out there publicly. So when the DNC says go for it, he can jump right in. And I supported the big guy all the way till his most recent health issue, and it's super unfortunate he's going to have to step away because they're not going to primary him where they just make him lose. They're going to have him bow out pathetically, not gracefully. They're going to have him bow out pathetically, like the pathetic Democrat that he is. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. They're publicly putting Newsom out there because I think they do want to have a primary process. But how much you want to bet? I'll bet all of you guys right now 1/2 of Indian cent, whatever that is, that they're going to run Mike. If you don't know who Mike is, you should do some research into Obama's boyfriend and figure out what kind of policies he's going to be pushing forward. Because they're going to run Mike. They're definitely going to run Mike, bro. They're going to run a Mike Newsom ticket. So it's going to be a black trans and a gay white dude who pretends he's straight. That's going to be the ticket. They are checking all the boxes, folks. They are checking all of the boxes. There's like I think the Democrats keep a diversity scorecard with, boxes that you can check on how many points you get. Which is why Elijah Schaffer refers to himself as disabled black lesbian woman. so he can check enough boxes, because he's just a white guy like me, and we don't we don't check any boxes. We're not allowed to have opinions or thoughts or give a shit, apparently, about anything, because we don't check enough boxes. But they're definitely checking the boxes. But yeah, so RFK Jr. is coming out running against Biden. They don't want him to run at all. Jake Tapper explains why RFK Jr. shouldn't have a platinum. Really? Okay. So Jake Tapper is going to explain why the Democrats shouldn't give RFK Jr. a platform at all. And this is a short, apparently. So we're going to need to go, definitely need to go big for that.
Side, you would do a town hall with someone like Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
I would not,
Okay. Why?
because he spreads dangerous misinformation about childhood vaccines. I had a personal experience with him in 2005 when he became, well, a professional experience personally with him. In 2005 was when he began in earnest his anti-childhood vaccine campaign. He wrote a story for Salon.com that was jointly published with Rolling Stone.
I'm not a Democrat. I'm never going to vote for a Democrat. I don't support RFK Jr. as far as being the president. But he's being slandered right now. I listened to RFK on the Joe Rogan podcast. I think that's where he was. I don't know. I listened to a fairly long interview with RFK where he was able to fully explain himself. He is not anti-vax, unfortunately. He's anti-no testing. If you want to do vaccines, do vaccines. Just test them with blind placebo trials like you do all other medicine that's given to people, which they don't do for vaccines, people. That's what he wants. That's what he's been fighting for.
Both of which have since
Rescinded it, right?
retracted the articles, and Rolling Stone just completely disappeared it. It was like it never happened. Salon has a page where they acknowledge what happened and et cetera, but Rolling Stone, it's just like, it's like Hoffa. I don't know what, just gone. Anyway, I just dealt with him, and he was so dishonest in that experience, and since then he lies about the experience frequently as an example of how the media is co-opted by big pharma.
Do you think on the Democratic side you would do a town hall with someone like Robert F. Kennedy?
All right, let's hear this. RFK responds to Jake Tapper? Yeah, but that's what they're trying to label him as. They're trying to label him as an anti-vaxxer because apparently anti-vaxxing is a pejorative. It's supposed to make you feel bad. I mean, I was vaccine hesitant prior to COVID. I'm a pureblood over here. My entire family is pureblood. We don't believe in experimental lines to get in. I don't agree in getting any line the government says to get in, for one. Especially when the end of the line is an experiment. So we're pureblood over here. But because of how they handled that whole situation, I did pretty extensive research into vaccine safety overall. It's not looking good, folks. It's not looking good. If you haven't read RFK Jr.'s book, The Real Dr. Fauci, I highly suggest every American read this book. It is freaking scary. And he's not being sued. This book's been out for a while, right? No one's suing him. They're not trying to pull the books off the shelf for spreading disinformation. He's not slandering people. This entire book is scary. And he has all the sources, all the references. You can go check all his facts and his data and his info. They do not do safety testing on vaccines. It does not happen, people. The vaccine industry is fully captured by regulation, and they just print them out. Which is why I think he says, RFK says, when I was a kid, I used to get 3, and now they get 16 in 17 different injections. So they get 17, it's 16 vaccines provided in 17 doses, 72 doses or some shit like that, starting from day 1. Like they give Hep B to babies in the hospital. What? Do you know any baby crackhead prostitutes? Because this is who needs the Hep B vaccine. People who live on the streets, junkies, prostitutes, sexually promiscuous people, you know, like the gays. This is who needs the Hep B. Not babies. There's no babies getting Hep B in an alley. Like this isn't happening. So, read it. Read his book. You should definitely go read his book. The Real Anthony Fauci. And basically he explains how this whole Anthony Fauci screwing over the government and killing lots of people isn't the first time it's happened. He did it with AIDS too. He came out with this drug called AZT, I think it was. He blackballed other doctors coming up with better stuff that would actually help. He blocked all them, you know, had them blackballed from the business, kicked out of the business completely. They're not able to publish anymore. You know, they're not able to get grants and research. You know, they basically blackballed them from the business. Came out with his own thing, push it as the only thing that you can do. And turns out it just was killing everybody. Weird. Weird. How his playbook was completely laid out again. Was completely laid out again. A Democrat strategist suggests that RFK Jr. runs with Republicans. See, that's what's funny, though, is RFK is like a real Democrat, the kind of Democrat that I don't dislike. Just a normal Democrat. You know what I mean? Same goals. Preserve the Constitution. Preserve what this country was founded on. He's got slightly different ways of going about it than Republicans do, which is how it used to be. We had the same goal, 2 different ways of getting there. We don't have the same goal with 2 different ways of getting there now. What we have now is 2 separate goals. Actual Republicans and conservatives, not Rhino, not Uniparty, actual Republicans and conservatives want to take America back to when we were more following the Constitution. So much smaller government, less regulation. There should never be a federal government in your life. The state and local government, those are different things. No, Republicans are anti-government, so to speak. We're anti-federal government. Because states are supposed to be managed on a state level. The feds are supposed to fight wars and handle trade treaties. That's it. That's it. They're not supposed to educate our kids. They're not supposed to do anything. They're not supposed to feed the homeless. The federal government was not put into place with its limited powers in order to feed the poor. That's not what the government is for, people. This is what governments are for in communist countries, where they want everybody to be poor and on rations. This is America. If you're hungry, go get a job. If you can't get a job, then there is federal government that will step in if you're disabled or have something wrong with you, which is another whole tangent we could go into. How many people collecting that shit who shouldn't be is absolutely ridiculous. But if you're hungry, go get a job, go to a food bank, go to a church, go to a deli at closing, go to a bakery at closing, go to any restaurant at closing. They will give you food. Americans feed people. Nobody's starving in America. This is dumb. I think the U.S. government has spent like $2 trillion fighting poverty. You could have just made everybody poor a millionaire. Money is not the issue. Broke philosophy is the issue. People living broke. That's the issue. People living broke. Believe me, I know all about it. I lived broke for a very long time. I'm fully aware of what it's like to live broke. We may be experiencing living broke soon. If my side hustles don't start popping off here pretty soon, because we're trying to make this streaming thing a go. It's a slow grind. It's a slow grind.